This is an ACB community call presented by American Council of the Blind.
This Unmute Presents community call was hosted on Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023.
Good morning, everybody. Afternoon for some. Welcome back to another Unmute. We just want to give you a couple reminders here at the top. We're going to go through all the first hands raised first, and then if we get through everyone first time, then you can ask second questions if we have time and we get through everyone. And so you can get your hands up for tech questions. And also, please be respectful and give everyone the same opportunity to get their tech question asked as you would. So that'd be much appreciated. Also, we wanted to let you know if you want to get a hold of us, you have questions, comments, anything like that, you can reach us at feedback@unmute.show. And we have some Unmute announcements to make. And the first one is we are officially now on YouTube. So if you guys want to check out any of the things that we're putting out in the feed, you can also find it on YouTube. And with that, we have a couple of other announcements. And Michael, how are you? And you want to talk about the other things?
I always want to talk about things. So
yes,
we've been publishing a lot of things, a lot of stuff. So first of all, I usually have a hand, but I have a couple of things I want to address here. And it's something that I think is important because it's one of the reasons why we started the podcast feed and what's going on. So we originally started the Unmute podcast feed because we wanted people to be able to go to Unmute and get access to the content that we were producing in the way that you wanted it. And when we got started, it was once a week on Tuesdays, and it was a replay of this call. That worked well, but then we realized there's a lot of other information that we want to help disseminate to people. And so we started adding the Thursdays and Sunday shows. And we'll have some more announcements about Unmute in the very near future. So definitely stay tuned and come back on Tuesday to talk with us. But let me go over what we've published in the last little while, and some of these are going to sound a little familiar, but you might say, what's going on? So yesterday we put in the Unmute Presents podcast feed a show called Technically Working, and the episode itself was an episode that was navigating tech and business insights. So if you are a beginner computer user, maybe Technically Working isn't the best show for you, but if you want some more in-depth technology knowledge between myself and Demasi, he's been on Unmute a time or two, you can give that a listen. You can also listen to a interview that Marty and I did on Sunday called Revolutionizing Reading, the Story Behind Speech Central. By the way, quick side note, thank you, ChatGPT, for helping me come up with these titles. I can barely say them, but I don't have to think about them. So what that episode was we were talking with even the app developer of the Speech Central application. This conversation came up because of a episode that Marty and Lynn recorded a couple of weeks ago related to the subscription model that VoiceStream Reader is switching to, and even reached out to us because he wanted to share his story in the app that he has available that he's made free for VoiceOver users, specifically for reading. If you're looking for it for an MP3 player, this app is not for you. But if you want to learn more about that, go give that a listen in the podcast feed. On Sunday, we did something a little bit different as well. We published 2 episodes. So we published even that afternoon, but that morning we also stuck with our teach you something in 5 minutes or less, roughly, Sunday show. So on Sunday, I published an episode called Behind the Scenes, Rendering the Technically Working Podcast. Do you see a theme there for a second? Anyways, so that was where I went in on Reaper and showed you some of the settings that I'm changing in the render dialog or how I'm configuring it. So if that's something you're interested in, go give that a listen. Friday, Marty and Lynn talked about unlocking accessibility and addressing loneliness. So that could be a good listen for you if you want to hear that brief conversation with Marty and Lynn. Thursday, we talked about new features and affordable connectivity plan with Blind Shell. So Barry Asman and Diane Ducharme came on. We talked about the update that just dropped on the Blind Shell. So if you are a Blind Shell user, maybe worth listening to, especially if you're like, I don't know anything about these updates. We also talked about the free wireless program. So even if you're not a Blind Shell customer and you're interested in how the affordable connectivity program works and how you can get free wireless services on your phone, go give Thursday's episode a listen. And then, of course, we published our replay of last Tuesday's call. Marty, these announcements are getting longer and longer.
Yeah, we're going to have to start having just a strict announcement show just to have all announcements.
But we still only have one hand. Several people on, but only one hand. Sheila, who do we have first?
Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. So I had a quick question. I got a new Android phone. I believe it's a Galaxy S23. And I had to get it because the old phone that I had was kind of way out of date with the apps. And then some of the apps were so up to date and my system was so out of date, I couldn't get those apps. So it kind of twisted my arm to get a new phone. With the new update, in comparison to my old phone, which was also an Android, they had a double tap feature for both like the dial pad when dialing a phone number and like text messaging, like the keypad and keyboard for text messaging.
Yep.
So I think they've done away with it to a point. Like TalkBack does double tap with certain things, but not the things that it did before. So I'm curious, how would you guys go about trying to fix this? Because otherwise it feels like, because I have no site, it feels like I'm guessing where certain things are. And if you push something and it's wrong, you spend more time deleting than actually inputting.
So are you talking specifically about entering text? Because there has been some changes to the underlying way that TalkBack handles text interaction. Or are you talking about tapping on different places throughout Android? Or is this mainly with text?
This is mainly with text and like the dial pad for like a phone number too.
Okay. So two things. Number one, if you slide your finger around, you'll hear the letters and the numbers. And when you lift your finger up, that letter or number will be activated. And that's now how TalkBack is working. However, if you go into the TalkBack settings, with a 3-finger single tap on the screen and then choose the TalkBack settings and double tap on that. Under, I believe it's typing, and if you send us an email, I can send you the exact directions, but there's a way to change the way that typing is handled so that when you're entering letters, it'll go back to what you previously expected, which is where you find the letter and then you double tap on it and then it activates that letter. So there has been a change. That was a default feature, I think, of the TalkBack version on Samsung devices, and now that has been, it sounds like they've reverted it to the way that it's always been for TalkBack users, which is slide and then lift your finger up, which in a recent update to TalkBack, they added a feature to give you the ability to do the double tap, which Samsung users had. Hopefully that makes a little sense.
Yeah.
And they do have a very similar setting on the iPhone as well, where you can either slide around and lift up, or you can do a single finger double tap.
So, I mean, I was just used to the double tap. So when I got this new phone, I was like, did they just do away with it? And my final thing is, Michael, did you get my email about the WordPress? I sent it to you about last week.
Oh, if you sent me an email last week, I did not get it. Please resend it.
Okay.
Yeah. I deleted 7,000 emails on Sunday. So if you sent me an email and I haven't replied to you, resend it.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Mark. All right, I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right,
Who do we have
Chanel.
next?
Hey, Chanel.
Hello. So I was kind of half paying attention. Would what you were trying to tell me earlier benefit other people? And if so, what was it you were trying to tell me?
Yes. Thank you, Chanel. I'm glad you brought that back up. See, when I do talk, some people listen. So if
I couldn't catch all of it, but I knew you were saying something.
So what I was letting people know, and this is specifically for VoiceOver users on the Mac. So individuals who don't have a Mac, this may not be helpful for you. But if you go into your VoiceOver utility, and that's with the VOF8, and you press Command and the number 8 on your number row, this will take you to your commanders. Choose Numpad Commander and then turn it on. And then you'll see there's a modifier key drop down, which I, for some reason, never seen before, which all of a sudden made Numpad Commander so much more powerful for me. So you have the regular number pad, and then I have actually taken my control button, and anything on my number pad associated with control is related to either shortcuts or automation on my Mac. So I have kind of like a physical Stream Deck that can perform automated tasks. So under number 2 that I was telling you earlier, I went down and I chose custom commands in the VoiceOver option. Then I chose run shortcut. And then I chose the shortcut that volunteers have for hosting responsibilities. So if I'm ever wondering what is my next hosting responsibility, I hit Control 2 and I have those results right there on my screen. And to me, that has just substantially improved my efficiency, because Control 1 is now also associated with SGPT. So I hit Control 1 and I type my message, and then the results are shown on screen right there. And I think it's important to realize that you can run shortcuts or automation with Numpad Commander.
So follow up to that, the Control 2, it queries the shortcut, the hosting shortcut for you.
Yep.
And oh, now that is cool.
And then you can take any of those lines from that. And I use Fantastical. So what I do is I can take the line that says that I'm hosting and I hit Control Option Space. This puts me in the Fantastical window, and I just paste that information in there, and then it's on my calendar.
Mine is slightly less. I go in, I ask S Lady on my phone, or I could do on my Mac, what my events are, and then I go into text edit, do Command V, and then I at least have each thing, on one line, and so I can view it more there. So that's my non-techie way of doing it.
There you go. We'll play with it and let us know how you use Numpad Commander and automation, because that would be fun. One last thing for you, Chanel, too, because I know that you had checked out Mac GPT. I don't know if you're interested in Mac Whisper, but there's a new app that's in the App Store called AIKO, AIKO, and that will do transcripts. And it is a lot cleaner of an interface than Mac Whisper is, and you can get it from the Mac App Store.
All right. Thank you.
Before we call the next person, I just want to find out, does Belle have her hand up because she has a question for us, or do we have hands in Clubhouse?
We do have, so we're not unfortunately able to raise hands here to whatever complications, but we do have someone, Greg would like to ask a question.
Hey, Greg. Do we want to do that question now, Marty? Or
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask really quickly. So I may have asked you this before. I'm having this problem on my computer where I've got my headsets plugged into the USB port, sound through the other people on Zoom. So people on Zoom can hear my JAWS regardless of what volume it's at. So I just have to do the insert, the Zoom key to mute my speech, which isn't always the best way to do things, because sometimes I want to find out other things that are happening. So wondered if you had any tricks to that. Also, just real quick follow-up to that. I've tried balancing my audio to the right, the left. How do I balance my audio back middle using JAWS? So,
perfect.
Realize this is a JAWS specific question. Sorry about that.
Nope.
But,
no problem, Greg. Thank you for bringing that. And I will, Marty, do you have a suggestion for his headphone, or do you want me to take that?
Go for it.
Okay, so we'll answer your questions backwards. So to get JAWS to come back to both speakers, use insert space, VB, like you're setting balance, and then tap up arrow instead of left or right, and this will put JAWS back in both speakers for you. Also, restarting JAWS will put JAWS back in both speakers, and you can do that with insert space or JAWS key space and the F4 key, and that'll force JAWS to restart. I know that's a lot of commands. One more command to give you if you ever forget. JAWS key space and the letter J, like Juliet or JAWS, will let you search the command. So if you're wondering, how do I fix my balance or how do I fix the audio? Just do JAWS key space J and then type in some keywords related to the shortcut that you're looking for, and that'll give you the details. So hopefully that helps you with that, Greg. And then the headset, it sounds like it's a physical hardware issue, unfortunately. If people are still getting your audio from you and you've tried and they're hearing JAWS bleeding over, honestly, it might be worth looking into a different headset. There's plenty of them out there. I work for AT Guys, and we sell now a single ear headset with a microphone for $34.95, and that's USB or both ear with a microphone and either USB A or USB C, and those are $39.90. So there's some lower cost options. I can tell you that those headsets, I have not been told transmit JAWS or have bleed over issues, but I have heard that from other people with some headsets as well. So hopefully that helps you.
This has happened on a couple different headsets, USB headsets that I've used. So I just wondered if there was anything, but yeah, I will check into some of those, Michael. I may email you and ask you for some of those recommendations, but like I said, it's happened on a couple of different models of headsets that I've used. So
one other thing to try too, Triple G, is if you are in a Zoom meeting and people are hearing your JAWS bleed over, because honestly, whenever I'm in a Zoom meeting with you, I think you're on your iPhone because I've never heard JAWS, and I don't know how prominent it is. But if it's just bleed over, then it tells me it's hardware, and if you can just faintly hear it. But if it's clearly coming through, I wonder if there's something related to sound cards. And with JAWS, you can always do JAWS key space V, and then use your up and down arrow keys to change your sound card that JAWS goes out of, and that would allow you to see if switching to a different sound card, if available, makes it so people on Zoom don't hear your Zoom. And if you want, shoot me an email. We can set up a time you and I can jump on Zoom. We can experiment with that too.
Thank you.
No problem. Sheila, who do we have next?
Beth.
Hey, Beth, how's it going?
Yeah, I was my iPhone 13 has been going really well, doing really well, except like just say if I want to go to a certain app like Messages and I tap on that, but then it says Google. Like, do I have to, is there certain, like, maybe I'm not holding it straight? It seems like this phone, it's more finicky than my iPhone 8. Like it doesn't tap on Google, although I had it where, I would maybe go to a certain
Google,
app.
what do you mean? You're opening up Chrome or Google? And you're trying to open up Messages, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to open up Messages and see, I swipe, but then because I have some motor problems and I think maybe my hand just kind of goes like.
So let me give you something easier that might help you a little bit better.
Okay.
Activate Siri and say open Messages.
Oh, that might work better for me. Yeah, because this phone, it seems it's more finicky than the iPhone 8. The iPhone 8,
So it could be more sensitive, Beth, and that might be what you're realizing. Marty's suggestion is great to open Siri or to have Siri open apps, but I think another thing that you should also consider that would help you when inside of an app. Well, two things. Number one, there is voice control. So if you want to, you can control your phone with your voice and have it once you get comfortable, I need to tap on the compose button. You can tell your phone, tap compose, and then you can actually tell it what you would do if you're a VoiceOver user. So that's a way you could get around that. But another thing is if you're sliding your finger around your screen and you hear something that says like compose or edit, and you actually want to activate that, if you touch your screen with another finger at the same time, that will activate the last thing that VoiceOver said. So if lifting your finger off of the screen and double tapping on the screen is difficult for you, or if it tends to activate something next to what you were trying to activate, try using the split tap function and see if that makes things easier for you.
Split tap, like when I edit?
No, so split tap. Split tap is when you hear the thing that you want to tap on. Instead of double tapping on it, just touch your screen with another finger and that'll activate it.
Oh, yeah, because I notice this phone is more sensitive because a lot of times I could be swiping and I'm hitting the rotor too. So it's really sensitive.
You could go in and adjust the sensitivity. That's one thing you could do. I was going to go back to voice control. It also works with a VoiceOver. They work hand in hand. So if you're unable to see the screen, you could say, with voice control being on, swipe to the right, swipe to the left, open messages. And so you'll be able to use your voice, but also hear VoiceOver the same way you would if you had your finger on the screen and you were sliding it around. You just are using your voice instead of your hand. And then you can actually use the voice control to control opening apps, closing apps, and also dictating. It's really good for dictating also.
Yeah, because I dictate my messages. It just, the dictate comes like I was messaging my friend Sharon, just saying, it said Siri, it said, instead of hi Sharon, hey Siri Ann or something. So I had to go in and fix that. It doesn't.
Siri is not perfect. You do have to make some edits with it sometimes.
Yeah.
But try those things and let us know how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Sheila.
Dan Marshall.
Hey, Dan. How's it going?
There I am, I think. Sheila.
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So,
how are you doing?
Question. We're doing fine, but I was going to ask. Okay, I guess we had two people at once. I was just going to ask what people thought about T-Mobile, and they told me I could get cards that would pay off my phone, and then since I'm over 65, I might be able to could get 2 lines for around 100. I mean, I just wanted to know what people knew about T-Mobile and what they thought.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've used T-Mobile for several years. I've had no problems with them. I had one problem with them that longtime listeners will know about, and that's why I'm currently with AT&T. But for the most part, T-Mobile is a great carrier, and the plan that they quoted you sounds about right. Make sure that they have offered you the senior discount, because T-Mobile does offer that, and the prepaid cards that they're offering you is probably for you to bring your phone numbers over from a different carrier, and that's a common promotion in the wireless mobile industry. So what they would do is send you prepaid cards that you can use, and they're probably Visa or MasterCard.
One other thing I will throw in there as well is, yes, they have a lot of really good deals. I would just make sure that you think about what it is you actually need, opposed to what it is they're actually giving you a deal on. Because they can give you a bunch of deals, but if it's not going to be something that's going to be beneficial towards you or for you, then maybe that's not something you need. So like if you're getting a new phone, or if you're not getting a new phone, or if they're trying to sell you other services along with it, I mean, there's a lot of things that they'll try and give you deals on. So I would say, think about what it is you exactly need. And if you don't need it, then don't let them talk you into having extra stuff just for some deal, because it does fluctuate the price a little bit.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's what I needed to know, and keep up the good work.
Thanks. Good luck. All right, Sheila.
All right, Monica.
Hey, Monica.
Hi. So I had a question about virtual VPNs. Why would someone use one?
Well, people in the workforce would typically use a VPN if they're either working from home, or maybe they're on a trip and they need to get their computer to log into the servers at their job. That's how you securely log into your work to be able to get the information. They're not going to just let you just go in willy-nilly, free to the whole world. So that's how they do the security and privacy and all that stuff safely. Another reason is, if you're not working, you could be traveling around and you don't want to have your IP address out there or your information out there. And so you can make it so your information is blocked and there isn't any way for someone to track you in your browser or any of those kinds of things. Also, one other thing people use it for is, let's say you're somewhere else and you want to be able to get in to see your streaming media. You could do that. You could set your VPN to say that you're, for example, in New York, right? But you're actually in California, but it thinks you're in New York. So if your home is in New York, you can get all your streaming and all of that stuff from your house. Otherwise, you might not be able to get it if you were somewhere else in a different location. So, I mean, there's a lot of different use cases for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Thanks.
Sheila, who do we got next?
Abraham.
Hey, Abraham.
Hi. So just give me 1 second. Okay, now that I swallowed, I have a few gripes about Zoom. So I emailed Zoom support and I got a few weird responses. So I just want to confirm a few things. When I share computer audio, it and then stop that share, it actually says that I started computer audio share instead of saying I stopped it. Secondly, when a host shares and I'm a participant, it says you have started computer share, but I'm the participant. I just want to know if yes.
I have observed this and I can't tell you where. I've seen this happen though myself. And honestly, I don't pay that much attention to it, so I can't tell you if it's happening now.
Okay.
And if I think about it, I will. But I have observed this. This isn't just a you thing, because there has been a time or two where someone will start sharing their screen, and it says you're sharing your screen. I'm like, I'm doing what? I better not be sharing my screen, and it's disconcerting. So yes, I can totally relate.
There's a couple things too. Whenever you find a bug or have an issue, it's worth it to submit it, so that they will find out and at least hopefully they'll do something about it.
Yeah, I'm guilty of not doing that.
So I did submit it, and then for that particular one about you are sharing computer audio, I'm told, oh no, that is a normal function. So it was quite silly.
Have you tried updating your Zoom recently?
Yeah, it's up to date. I made sure of that before I submitted everything. And then another one was when I'm entering the webinar, my raised hand is acknowledged on entry when I haven't raised a hand.
Okay. Yeah. That is interesting. For sure. Keep track of those. And I need to start. Are you using JAWS, Ibrahim?
Yes.
Do you experience this when you use NVDA or Narrator with Zoom, or have you tried that?
I haven't tried I only tried the you sharing computer audio thing with NVDA. I haven't tried the others.
Because it might be also worth reporting it to Vispero if that's your primary screen reader, because I wonder if maybe something underlying isn't interpreting commands from Zoom as it should be as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll try that with NVDA.
Yeah. Perfect.
And so I submitted snippets of those. Like I recorded myself I used Teams to record myself and submitted snippets of those to them, and they still said the same thing, which I found very funny. Yeah,
that is funny.
Okay,
well, thank you, Ibrahim. Appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
And yeah,
I will throw something in here. Anytime you go into a webinar with JAWS, it does say the host has acknowledged your raised hand.
Yes,
but it doesn't stay up. The hand does not stay right.
Thank you, Sheila, because I have noticed that too. And that does not matter on what platform you're on. It seems like every time I go in, that host is always real quick at acknowledging my hand.
Yeah, and no, it doesn't stay up. So I can tell you that from a participant and a host side. So
thank you, Sheila.
Irene.
Hi,
Irene. Hey, Irene, how's it going?
There, I've got unmuted finally.
There you go. You got
everyone.
it.
I hope I can explain this. I have a Windows 11 and an iPhone 13. I have the email inbox synced with each other. Now, on the PC, it has a junk mail folder where a lot of stuff goes in junk mail. The iPhone does not. Is there a way that I could have a junk mail folder that everything will go in junk mail on the phone like it does on the PC?
Well, you actually do have a junk mail folder on the phone. You should anyway. It's not something you create. It's automatically there. So my question to you is, on your phone, when you open up mail, or is the first thing that you're seeing like the list of people that sent you email?
Yes, in the inbox.
Right. If you go to the top left corner from that screen, and you'll see a back button. When you hit that back button, you're going to get a list of all of the folders that are in your email, and you'll see inbox, send, saved, junk, all those things. So I just think you need to tap back one screen to see all the folders, and that's where they're all located. And you should have a junk folder there.
Yes, there is, but nothing ever goes in there.
So one caveat
in the inbox.
Oh, really? Okay. On your computer, if an email
phone.
shows, right. But on your computer, an email will go to junk, but on the phone, it stays in the inbox?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not set up with IMAP, probably. If you delete a message on your phone, does it delete it on your computer?
Does it delete it on my computer?
Or vice versa? If you delete it on your computer, does it delete it on your phone?
If the inbox is closed, it will delete it. But if the inbox is open,
That is interesting. And I find that to be fascinating. If you send us an email, we can further troubleshoot this, because that's not how it should behave. I wonder.
I have a question really quickly. What is the last half of are you at Gmail? What are you at?
It is the same email address as on the phone as on the PC. It's not a Gmail address.
Okay. I'm trying to find out if some email accounts have what's called IMAP, and that's how it mirrors everything in one place and in the other place. Whatever you do in one place or the other, they sync up and they match. And if you're not, some email accounts do that. For example, Gmail is IMAP by default. But if you're using something else, you could be using something different besides IMAP, and that could be the reason you're not syncing up. And that's why Michael was trying to.
So that's what I was going to say. Send us an email. We'll do some further troubleshooting, get some details from you, and then see what we can do to help you out with that. And the best email is to send it to feedback@unmute.show.
Feedback@unmute.show.
You got it. No .com, just ends in .show. So feedback@unmute.show.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I'll try to explain it if I can in the email.
No, you did good. We were just both wondering why it wasn't doing what it sounds like it's supposed to. So we either think that it's not an IMAP and you're using something different, and that's why it's not syncing up in both places, or there could possibly be some other issue.
Exactly. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
All right, next is an iPhone. So if you maybe don't have your name, but you're on an iPhone, you have your hand raised, please unmute and tell us who you are.
My name is Lynn. If it's me, is it me?
Yes, ma'am.
It's you.
Hi, Lynn.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Lynn.
Hello. How are you? How's everybody?
Great.
Good.
Yourself?
Good. Listen, I have a question about. I have a Mac with running Ventura. It's a Mac Mini, and I want to. My speakers are old, and I want to purchase a Sonos. And I want to know if you or any of the listeners know how easy I'm going to be able to pair the Sonos without sighted help.
So I will answer this question for you because I am a Mac Mini with Sonos user.
Thank you.
It really depends on the Sonos you're getting. So I have Sonos ones in my room right now, and those only support Wi-Fi. You can't send audio via Bluetooth to those. Okay. Now, there is an app on the Mac called Airfoil that will let you send your audio to those speakers. So that is an option for you, and they could work. Sonos has some new speakers out that actually have Bluetooth support, and you can Bluetooth the audio on those new speakers. And then the last thing that I'll say is all of Sonos' newer speakers support AirPlay. Sore throat here. They support AirPlay, which means if the app you're using has an AirPlay button on it, you can choose AirPlay, and then the Sonos speakers will show up there, and your audio, everything except for VoiceOver, if you're a VoiceOver user, will go over that those speakers. So it's doable. It just really comes down to what type of workflow you want to implement and what speakers you get.
And Lynn, I have a question for you. Do you already own the Sonos speakers, or are you thinking about going and buying the Sonos speakers for your Mac Mini?
No, I don't own them yet. The reason I'm asking is because I have a friend who purchased Sonos like 4 or 5 years ago, and they have like no sighted help in their house, and she has never been able to get them paired on her own.
Oh, well, you should tell her to email me because I will help her with that, because that is not good.
And so that's why I don't want the same problem. See, right now I have speakers that are you put them in the speaker jack.
Right. Yeah.
And the new Mac Minis with the M1 chip don't like that so much. I mean, I can do it, but they just don't like it. And these speakers are old; they're starting to short out. And so I was thinking about I can't get anything that's not Bluetooth.
So, full transparency too, because I just want to make sure that we provide you complete information. In order to send audio to Sonos, you do have to get logged into the Mac Minis. So you'll either have to use the onboard speaker that's on the Mac Mini that's very quiet, or headphones or something, because on that logon screen, you can't run tools like Airfoil to send audio to the Sonos speakers until you're logged in.
Right.
You said you were against Bluetooth. Any particular reason why?
No, I'm not against Bluetooth. No, I'm not against it. But how do I say this? I'm relatively new to the Mac, like within the last 3 years. So I don't know everything I need to know. And for instance, I'm just using this as an example. I got an air fryer a while ago, and I had to have a ton of sighted help pairing that thing. I mean, I didn't mind once it was there. And I just wanted to know if the Sonos is going to be the same thing.
It is a little bit different. The reason why I was asking, there's a myriad of Bluetooth speakers at all sound qualities and costs and all of that stuff. But that is also a simple way. Once you get a Bluetooth speaker hooked up, then it's always there. You don't have to sync it every time or anything like that. So I was just wondering why you were against Bluetooth, or if you were against
I'm not
Bluetooth.
against it. It's just trying to get it to that stage, because I have sighted help every once in a while, but it certainly isn't, every day.
Yeah. Yep. So Lynn, we do have a couple other questions, but I do want to invite you to, if you want, feel free to email us and we can talk more about this, especially put your friend in Yeah, we'll give it again at the end. So stay tuned. And then we'll give that at the end. But definitely have your friend get in contact with us, because there's absolutely no reason she shouldn't be able to be using her Sonos devices. And so we want to troubleshoot what's going on with that as well. So thanks a lot, Lynn.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
Eugenia.
Hey, Eugenia.
Good morning. I have a question regarding the Apple TV. I need to get a TV for a spare room, so I don't need a very large one, like probably, 30 or something. Should I get, my question is to get a smart TV or just a regular TV, since the Apple TV is going to be the main
You're going to
use it?
You're going to be very hard pressed to find a TV that doesn't have the smarts in it anymore. Almost every TV out there has some sort of smart TV in it. The software's inside there. Now, you don't have to use it. You can plug your Apple TV in and just go straight to the Apple TV and only use the Apple TV. If you're using only the Apple TV and that's all you're going to use it for, then you could also get like a computer screen, like a 32-inch computer screen, which would work pretty good also. And that you find them for like $150, but you can also find TVs for $150 also.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But if you don't need to use the smarts in the TV because you have an Apple TV, then you just go straight to it, plug the HDMI in, and just go straight to that. And then don't even bother with setting anything up on the TV itself.
Yeah, because I thought it was a waste. We had one, and this is like for a spare room, but for the, living room is one, smart TV. It seems like nobody ever uses the TV as the smart TV.
We have 3 Roku TVs in our household. No one ever uses the smart features on those Roku TVs because they all have Apple TVs or Xboxes connected to them. Now, one thing to consider, though, Eugenia, if this is important to you, and we go back to the previous person who was mentioning that she doesn't really have sighted assistance. One advantage to going with a smart TV is if input sources get changed, in a lot of instances, there is a rudimentary screen reader, but you're going to have the best experience with the screen reader on the Apple TV. So if you can just get something that only lets you do the Apple TV, that's ideal for you.
All right. Okay. Thank you very. Oh, and then for the sound, it will go. To get. Should I get a speaker to connect to it, or? There are some TVs that because the one that we have, the smart TV, the big one, has a Sonos, whatever surround and all kind of noises that, it's crazy. But
I mean, you could use just what's on the TV if you wanted to. Probably on something that's $150 to $200 TV, the sound won't be great. They do have inexpensive sound bars you can buy and add to the bottom of the TV, which will improve the sound. Those range from anywhere from like $150, and then they go up to lots of money after that. But you can also get an Apple speaker. A HomePod Mini, they're $100, and that'll sound better. Just even one of those than the speaker on the TV,
and it'll work with Apple TV.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I thought for clarifying.
Good luck.
Thank you,
Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
Hello, Mike. I recognize you from the Blind Shell talks every so often. So what I was wondering is, I use JAWS with Windows 10 on, it's a desktop. I would also at some point in time be interested in hosting helping out hosting some of these calls. And sorry, that's my little parrot screaming at us. But I don't have a working Braille display at this point in time. So I was wondering if I could just host a call, like some of these calls or any Zoom call, without using a Braille display. Now I have to have my speaker on. The Zoom conversations come through my headphone. My headphone has a microphone, but I do have to have my speaker on to hear what JAWS is saying. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to interfere with with conversations, because during calls, you sometimes hear so and so has left the meeting, or somebody has joined the call, or somebody
It can be super wordy. And Deborah, I will tell you that yes, you could host a community call or a call. Your best suggestion, though, is send an email to community@acb.org. And the community team will let you know what type of training is available and how that process works. And then you can go through and see if it'll work for you and learn what they have to offer.
Okay, I do have an older iPhone. Sometimes it works for me and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So that would be very unpredictable. I wouldn't even try to use that.
Yeah, and you don't want to host from a phone anyways. So I think your computer would be your best bet, and then we can work with you to figure out how to get that to work well. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mike.
No problem, Deborah. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Who do we have next, Sheila?
Herbie.
Hey, Herbie.
Hey, Herbie.
Great cooking call this morning. How'd your chicken turn out?
It turned out all right.
Good.
So a couple things. First of all, just going back to the previous question real quick, not many of us hosts really do use Braille displays to begin with. I think a lot of the Windows users probably would benefit from it, just because of the fact that when you get to the screen share, you'd be able to mute your JAWS and still have speech, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, you're not going to need, because with hosting, you're not reading really, you're not doing much talking actually. But that definitely email community. And the other thing I was going to say though is I recommend you turn off all those alerts to begin with. Now, I've never heard your JAWS ever come through the thing though, Deborah, so that's a good thing. But I would say just turn off all those alerts, which you can go to your, even on Windows, I think it's called Preferences, and then go to accessibility, and you can disable all those. And it cuts down on the chatter and cuts down on the distractions, in my opinion. And you just have to look at the screen. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about, something that you may not know, with AirPlay, which is kind of cool and is unique to the Mac, but not to the phone so much. Though it kind of can work on the phone too, come to think of it. But you can actually set your AirPlay speaker as a default speaker.
Oh.
And yes, and so anything will come through it. Now, one thing I've never done with is VoiceOver. I don't want that on any kind of delay. You can, if things go weird with AirPlay, which sometimes they do, I don't want to lose speech.
Yep.
So I would never recommend using VoiceOver through AirPlay. But the one thing I have noticed is there can be a bit of a delay. So,
Yes.
but I, for instance, have had Club Deck blasting through AirPlay a few times, and it's really cool sounding. I'll tell you.
That's a great suggestion. And for the lady who is listening with Sonos, Sonos do support AirPlay, as we mentioned. So thank you for mentioning that, Herbie. One cool thing about Airfoil, which does leverage AirPlay devices, and I don't know if you've played this, but sometimes I have audio playing on all of the Sonos in the house and the Google Home, and you can group those with Airfoil and have it play on all of those at once. And I do believe it'll even let you play audio to a lady. So play with that if you can.
And I think we can do a similar thing on Sound Source as well.
Sound Source will only let you choose from physical or virtual devices on the machine. It will not let you use remote Bluetooth or AirPlay. And that took me a little bit to learn because I'm like, well, why don't I just use Sound Source? But that's when I read the documentation for Airfoil, that's how I learned the difference in the two.
Okay, good to know.
Yep. Who do we got next, Sheila?
All right, you've got about 11 minutes left, and Pam Coffee is next.
Hey, Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Yes, another Zoom question. And that is, you mentioned a while ago that if you have a Zoom issue, send them an email. Well, the problem I run into is if you're on the website, you go to troubleshooting or whatever they actually call it. If you aren't dealing with a particular issue that they show in their list, you have to choose the variety of issue that you're having. Well, if yours fits nowhere, you're going to get nowhere getting help. And my question is there a way to bypass that?
So if I understand your question, you're wondering if there's a way to bypass the main message that you get when someone... Unfortunately not. I have never sent an email to accessibility at zoom.com. At zoom.com. I don't know if you've tried that, but that could be a solution.
Do they even have an accessibility?
I do believe I've seen that at some point. I can't guarantee that exists, but it can't hurt to try it.
Yeah, I have never seen that. And I tried to help a friend create an account years ago, couple of years ago. We ran into issues. I was trying to get help for her. There was nowhere in that list that there was nothing relevant to her problem in that list of help topics or where to go to get help. And
so, Pam, can I interrupt you real quick? And I appreciate that because I did just do some quick searching. If you go to explore.zoom.us/accessibility, and I know you're not going to remember that, but no worries, give me a second. You will see that there is a resource center for accessibility information related to Zoom. And if you have specific feedback, reporting an issue, or request accessibility assistance, you can send an email to access@zoom.us. So try sending an email to access@zoom.us, and that may give you a better solution.
Great. Oh, wow. Thank you.
No problem, Pam. Who do we got next, Sheila?
Okay, you have no more new hands. So you got Beth and you've got Abraham.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take those two, and then we'll wrap it up today. So let's start with Beth.
Okay, yeah. Now, when I have I have system access, and when that has a security alert, it says your device was scanned and it didn't find any viruses. But I have a problem when I have NVDA. It says contact. It says there's a virus or whatever, and then it's contact Norton. I don't understand what that's about because I don't have any Norton virus.
So what I would recommend doing is looking at Windows Defender and having Windows Defender get ran. And if you need help with running Windows Defender, you can reach out to the Microsoft answer desk, disability answer desk, and they can remote into your computer and help you run Windows Defender. That will then search and let you know if there's any viruses that you need to be concerned about.
Okay. If there isn't, then NVDA, maybe that's just an error in there.
Then maybe NVDA is reading something that's actually not on the screen. And that would definitely be a question to ask the answer desk because they can see, again, what's on your screen.
Okay. Sounds good.
Perfect.
Michael, you do have a new hand if you want to take it.
I did see that. Marie.
Hey, Marie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys today?
We're good. What can we do for you?
I had a quick little hint for Deborah to turn her alerts off and on with a Windows PC. It's Alt, Windows, and the letter S is in Sam.
Thank you. That is
quickly turns your alerts off or on.
Thank you, Marie. So it's all Windows S?
S.
Oh,
Alt
right.
Windows S.
That is if you are using JAWS. I don't know if that works with NVDA. Just
okay.
I think it does, but I'm not sure because I am a JAWS user. So
me as well. So thank you. Appreciate that.
You bet.
Ibrahim.
I'm going to try and email access at zoom.us instead of the person that
Yeah, try that. That might be better. I didn't even think about looking for that email earlier. So give that a try and let us know how that goes.
I will do that. And then do you have any apps that you can recommend that will do screen recording and video editing?
On Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Windows Movie Maker could edit.
So I believe Windows Movie Maker.
Does Windows Movie Maker still exist?
I don't actually know. And Marty doesn't use Windows unless he knows something I know. I remember Windows Movie Maker. I think that was accessible. Anyways, where I would edit videos is Reaper. There you can use Reaper to edit video. Quick tip: if you are using video in Reaper and you're editing it, make sure that the file that contains the video content is on the first track of the Reaper project. Otherwise, when you render the project, it will render a black screen. So keep that in mind. And then to record the screen, just do a Zoom meeting with yourself and screen share.
But I want to record Zoom at the start.
Yeah. Good call.
That's why lots of great recording and editing apps
Teams
for the Mac.
So you saying I must switch?
Marty's trying to convince you to switch to the Mac.
So this is Herbie. Can I suggest something real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for the record, I naturally agree with Marty, but I will mention that a couple of the Mac apps do have iPhone versions. That movie clip one that Apple has.
Clips?
iMovie.
iMovie?
Yeah. iMovie. So there is an iPhone version for that one. So that might be a possibility. And isn't one of the video editors also coming to the iPad?
Yeah, it's called Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro, yeah.
That's going to be a lot of money he probably doesn't want to spend and a big learning curve.
Well, it's $5 a month. Like if you just need it for a month, it's really not a lot of money when you put it in perspective. So, but yeah. So, thank you, Herbie. Appreciate that. All right.
Okay. It's a lot less money than just getting a Mac. We'll say that much.
Yeah, that is true. But you'll have a better experience on the Mac. Thank you, Ibrahim. And it looks like it's about time to wrap it up, Marty.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, you can reach us at feedback@unmute.show. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.